Okay, so we are technically live, but the podcast interview that we did with Madeline James is still running right now. It'll be running for a couple of minutes. So I'm just going to keep an eye on it, and we'll try not to do anything important while it's going. But I did, since we're not doing anything else, I was hoping to ask you a question. What would you think about changing the animals of Savala, changing them to robots?
I feel very good about that. I think that would be a necessary step in any animal-focused world.
Oh my goodness. You're hearing two Davids wearing the same shirt. Oops. I don't think I wore the same shirt on purpose,
I don't think you could have.
but I think it will make it less jarring for people that come from the old video to the new one. They're going to see you and say, what on earth happened? It's like the colors inverted.
Different seat, different shirt. Indeed.
So yeah, we're watching the interview on the screen right now without sound, so I don't know exactly when it's going to be over. I know that it's a minute, hour and 2 minutes.
Yeah, and it started 2 minutes late.
It started a little late, didn't it?
Because I joined at 1 and it was counting down from 60.
Yeah.
Anyway.
It's probably because they knew that I was running late.
They knew you would need time.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, 2030. Okay. I feel like for anyone not watching the other stream, we should say something, but at the same time, we don't want to say things because the other stream, go watch the other stream for 30 seconds.
Yeah. Yeah. You know, yellow is really your color. Like bright colors work really well on you, Jess.
Are you saying you don't like this color on me?
Oh no, that's a fine color.
It's a fine color.
I was just remarking as I was seeing. For those who can't see Jesse's entire shirt, it says "Quality German Engineering," and on it is a dog, a Dachshund, a Wiener Schnitzel dog, a Wiener dog.
Yeah, usually schnitzel is not used.
Yeah, not a Wiener Schnitzel dog. Oh, Patrick, you can be forgiven for not knowing that we were doing an instant premiere of our interview with Madeline James. How could you have known? It wasn't like it was an event in the Discord that you're a member of that had a link going to it and a reminder about when it started.
David, you're saucy.
It's
You're
just-
sassy.
Just like my parents who forgot to pick us up from the airport despite having had it on the calendar 4 different times.
Okay, it's over.
The stream is now over. Is our television off? I think it just turned off on its own.
It's like it knew.
Wow. Anyway, welcome to LangTime Studio. Welcome to Bibleridian. Many of you don't know this, but Bibleridian is a crack audio editor because he has to be.
Problem when you do everything yourself.
Oh, yeah. Actually, no, that's a really super good question. Jonathan asks, why did I not schedule the premiere for 3:55 instead of 4? Because you can't. You can only do 15-minute intervals, or 10-minute intervals, I think. Really strange. You can only do what you will do. But Anyway, though, welcome to everybody who has come over from our LangTime chat interview with Madeline James. Very, very, very exciting day because today Madeline's first book, Because the Beast Came, is published and everybody can go and purchase it. The interview we did for LangTime chat, I think when the interview started, like I just thought it would be normal in that, we were going to do it. It was going to come out on the first of the month, and then others, non-patrons, could hear it whenever season 8 was done. But then it was like, what's the point of that, since this is about a book that's coming out this month, and then of course there's also going to be a SpecCon in June. It seems like it would make a lot more sense if non-patrons could hear and see this. And so I think we kind of decided somewhere in the midst of that interview to just do the instant premiere thing. And now, of course, you and Madeline can share it at other places for anybody that wants to hear a little bit more about the book writing process. And something that comes up a lot, actually gets mentioned a lot in that interview that I didn't even think about, is how many hats Madeline wore as as writer, as her own editor, and really her own publicist. A role, by the way, she took very seriously. And so I mentioned the book, one of my favorites, a board book, Caps for Sale. And I said, somebody should Photoshop her face onto it. But of course, I was like, look, I can say that, or I can do it myself. So there we are.
That's incredible.
Maddie publishes a book, and there she is, wearing all the caps.
That is incredible.
Anyway, so before we get to our usual conlang stuff, I did want to mention a few more things for Madeline. In particular, today is the day the book is published, but there are a few things coming up for those that are in the area or those who want to be online. Let me scoot this over just a skosh. There we go. If you are in the, Maryland area, on April 11th, so not today, but Saturday, there is going to be an in-person release event at Salty Girl Books. This is at 9 a.m. Eastern Time, which means that, even if you're on the East Coast, it's early.
But it goes till 1 p.m.
But it goes to 1 p.m.
So it allows people who are morning people or people who are not to attend.
Yeah, there you go. Saturday, April 11th, 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. Eastern Time at Salty Girl Books. There is a book launch event for Because the Beast Came. And the address is there too, 1296 Baydale Drive, Arnold, Maryland. That is something that if you're in the area, you can go and do. That's April 11th. April 12th, there is a live stream release celebration. Sunday, April 12th, 4 p.m. Eastern, which is merciful even for West Coast folk. And that is going to be on Madeline's YouTube channels. That's Madeline James Writes. And there is going to be an art Q&A giveaways and, at least 2 shenanigans. Because if it's plural in English, that means 2 or more. So at least 2 shenanigans. And then later in the month, April 22nd, there is the live stream World Building Tour interview. 5 p.m. Eastern, also, on Madeline's other YouTube channel, Madeline James World Builds. So, anyway, something to put down on your calendars, and either to do online or in person if you happen to be in the area. So, there you have it. And now, I guess we actually have to do some conlanging, yes? Unless...
I would say I had one more announcement because we've been traveling, doing presentations at Brown University, and then I got sick. And so I haven't really been online for 5 days. And so anyway, I just happened to get online today. And that's when I realized that George has released on Conlangery the review of my book, how to create a language. And so as soon as the stream ends, I'm going to watch it. I'm very excited. But yeah, George from Conlangery did a review, and so everyone can see that. More
Yay.
fun stuff. I'm taking Maddie's book thunder and putting it towards myself.
But yeah, as you can tell, Jessie isn't quite feeling herself, and so that means that this is not going to be a usual stream. This is going to be a more David-centric stream, and frankly, most of the streams are kind of David-centric anyway. So this is going to be even more unbalanced. I'll understand if several of you just decide to do other things. You'll notice that Mateus is not here. I think he knew what was coming.
Mateus is not feeling great either today, and so we need to have a little sick room going.
I am closer to the center of the screen. Are you very comfortable with the setup? Because if so, I can just change the window.
I'm comfortable.
So you'd like me to consider permanently changing the window?
No. Keep it like it is.
But you're not centered. See? And now...
Well, I could just move my computer, babe. That's...
This is why I asked. When you being comfortable meant your computer as well.
Oh, no, I'm sorry. And I don't know which way to move it. So get the windows back to where they were, and then I'm going to play with... I always get a little bit backwards.
I'm just...
trying to match the camera.
I'm just going to fix it on my own. There we go. See, that's nice. That's nice.
Well, now I've moved my computer twice. I'm going to see what happens.
That's all right. It looks very nice. Anyway.
Nemo.
That's right.
Oh, Nemo, get some good rest.
Okie doke. So what I want to do is try to get the business stuff out of the way as quickly as possible. So let's go ahead and take care of that.
Jake wants to know when your bucket list was written.
What bucket list?
You know, the bucket list with going to Ireland.
Oh, I don't suppose that was a real bucket list, and it was never written. It's just places that, even starting as a young child, I always wanted to visit. And I think the very, very first place on my list ever was New Orleans. That was the first place that I recognized as being a place where I saw that and said, I really want to experience that. And so it's kind of surprising that it took 45 years for me to get there, but I did. Surprising in that it's not like something that was super difficult,
I was surprised.
Yeah.
But I was glad I got to take you, so I'm glad it didn't happen.
Yeah. Also on that list, maybe added at various points in time, but, long time one was Japan, and I've been there twice, and it was incredible. Yeah, Ireland, I've always wanted to go to. Dublin in particular, it's kind of a destination thing for fans of James Joyce, because that was, kind of the thing. I would be excited to do something, Ulysses-centric while we're there, but we don't necessarily need to. And then, what else was super on the list? Well, Hawaii, of course. Hawaii. I'm not even actually sure which one came first, New Orleans or Hawaii, but they were both on there. Yeah, other than that, those were the big ones. The only other things I can think of where I kind of would like to see them for oddball reasons, Uruguay and Botswana. Yeah.
So you just made the list longer?
I
I thought Dublin was going to be it.
No.
We're done.
It's not like I'm more curious to just see it, both of them, those specifically. I would say Italy, given how much my languages are studied there. And yet.
Say, ciao, io sono Jessie.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how to say California yet. I'm sure it's just California, but
Io sono di California.
see, that's what
There
I
you
would
go.
assume. Then I can also say piacere. Nice to meet you.
Yeah. Yeah, really though, those like the places, those were the kind of the places I had a real burning desire to visit. It wasn't that many. But like, you know, I wouldn't bat an eye at visiting like literally every island in the Pacific or Caribbean.
See, I've avoided bucket lists because at one point in my life I thought they were cool, but then it's like, it really just depends on where you are then. And like, it's kind of sad to then have to let go of your bucket list because it no longer makes sense. And then it's like a period of mourning for something you never did anyway.
Yeah.
I don't know.
One tough thing is that because in terms of literature, like my favorite time and place is 19th century Russian literature. And there's so much wonderful stuff that came out of that period. There's so much I'd like to see. And part of it, it's simply impractical to visit Russia for any number of reasons right now. And second, you know, a lot of stuff I feel like was probably destroyed around 1917. Of course, Jonathan's going to Italy. Hop, skipping, and jumping away from Baltimore. Did I say a jumping out? No. Hop, skip, and a jump away from Baltimore.
What was our poll about? I don't remember.
I'll tell you what our poll was about. This poll this week was about auxiliaries, because we needed to talk about this as we were trying to decide if the bear form was going to have any use outside of the imperative. And so we created everything that we needed to be able to have an auxiliary to be able to. So we have the bat is biting the maple seed. E usa I wa isunla. That's the bat is biting the maple seed. And we created the bat can bite the maple seed. And so that's e wucha. Right. E wucha I wo. And then some form of the verb to eat or bite. Isunla. We just didn't know what form. So we already had a separate auxiliary. This was the negative auxiliary. But we knew how that one was going to work. And so we were trying to create an auxiliary that we knew was going to have a different syntax in order to figure out how it was going to work. And so that's what we did. And we gave folks two options for how the syntax of this thing was going to work. And so I will go over them now. Both are simple, I will say, which is good because that's the way it should be. Both are simple, but they're simple for different reasons and very different. The first one that is simple is to use the bear form as the infinitive. So this means that the bear form would double as the imperative and as a kind of infinitive. This means that we would have more than one non-finite form. We'd have the gerund form, which has its own use, and then also the infinitive. Anyway, if we did this, then it would work very similar to English. Because in English, we have effectively two infinitive forms. We have and there's an actual name for this, I can't remember what it is, but the complex infinitive has to in it. So to eat is an infinitive. However, there is a second infinitive form which is even simpler. When we say I can eat, eat is also an infinitive form, and it's unsupported by to. And so that's essentially what we would be doing. So it would be I'm going to get better and better at this. It's going to take work, but I'm going to get better. And so effectively what this would be, you have all of your tense information on the main verb, which is to be able to. So is able to, the bat, and then a plain infinitive, us, it's just eat the maple seed. So it's very similar to English in that regard. Very lightweight. Then we have option B. Option B is also simple, but simple for different reasons. In a language like Spanish to a great extent, but even in English to a lesser extent, when subordination happens, you have to deal with some form of subjunctivity. And this is why there is, even in English, confusion to this day about saying something like, I don't know, I hope that gosh, that's not a good example. That's not a good example.
Sorry, I was saying something in chat. Can you say what you're trying to think of?
Oh, I just got distracted. I'm trying to talk to create an example of the subjunctive in English.
I wish that I were taller.
Thank you.
Or even like the university requires he obtained the correct.
That's
something.
even better right there. Perfect. That's it. Because, of course, it's easy to find the irregular forms in to be. But no, that's it. The university requires that he obtain a photo ID, like a staff ID, before teaching class. All right. And this is very confusing to, I think, English speakers. There's only one inflection on verbs, right? And it's third person singular in the non-past. So like, I obtain, he obtains. The university requires that he obtain a blah, 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 blah is a vestige of the subjunctive. It's really weird. And so the sentence can't exist on its own. You can't say like, he obtained a photo ID. It doesn't make any sense. But in that embedded structure, it works. And so that's something that can be very confusing. It's even more confusing for English speakers learning a language like Spanish because there are so many subjunctive, conjugations, or rather like two different subjunctive tenses depending on what dialect you're learning. There actually is kind of a third. And then there's agreement with all of it. Whereas in English, we don't even think of it as a subjunctive. We think of it as like a weird thing that you have to say certain times in that way, only for third person singular arguments or only with the verb to be, because it's the only place it ever shows up. And even then, it's still a thing where like an English speaker would say, is it I wish I was going or I wish I were going? And both are kind of acceptable because it's just a dying distinction simply because there aren't that many inflections. There aren't enough inflections to support it.
Yeah,
for
there aren't
people to
enough
remember.
inflections, which means you don't, like you had said, the contexts have become so smashed down and where you see it. Because like when I was trying to give you that second example with require,
It's hard.
it's like I started with you, and then it's like, but that you obtain X is just how you say it anyway. So then I was going to move it to they, but they obtain is how you say it anyway.
Yep.
And so like, it has to be third person singular.
It's got to be. Anyway, so the whole point of introducing that is one thing that is wonderfully merciful about Finnish is that they don't really have this subjunctive form. Instead, everything just starts over. So like, I want him to sing. You would just say, haluan hän laulaa, right? I want... Haluan että... Why do I always forget that? You can't do that like English. You just drop it. Haluan että hän laulaa, or se laulaa, right?
Well,
I want that.
Part of what sets it up is like the it resets.
Yeah. So the equivalent of that essentially just resets everything, and it's just now it's a new clause, and you can use the tenses however you wish. So our second idea was that essentially we do that. Yeah. So either with or without an actual that. It was something we heard. It was something
And
we
like, I
heard.
don't think any of you heard that
It wasn't
probably
loud
because it
enough for you
wasn't
to hear.
loud. But like, yeah, it got both of our attentions
Yeah.
in kind of an aggressive way.
Yeah. It's very strange. Anyway, so the examples for something like this, the bat, it's translated as the bat can bite the maple seed, but probably a better way of translating it would be the bat is capable that he, she, or whatever bites the maple seed, right? So, wuha igwo usa isuna. All right, so there's an invisible reset in between the first verb, the auxiliary, and the subject, and then the rest of it. And so you actually can put whatever tense you want in there, whichever one makes sense. And I don't know, we'll look at it and see if that's a problem as we move forward. And yeah, we don't really have a that. So the thing that's going to trigger it is basically just a new tense. It's just telling you that there's been a reset, right? Anyway, that was the long way of describing what this very short poll was.
I'm wondering if everyone caught the moment where I realized I was just staring at the table like in a trance and then was like, wait, we're streaming. And I like snapped my head up very, very fast. It's not like the time you fell asleep, though. That was even funnier. I was still awake, just in a trance.
I have no memory of this.
I know, because you fell asleep.
Anyway, so on to the poll. The poll was somewhat close, but ultimately there was a clear winner. Any guesses?
I'm very excited to know who's just walking by our window listening to music back and forth. My guess
Yes.
is that that option B won.
And you would be correct. In general, it seems that our patrons are always in favor of more stuff.
Oh my God, Danielle's just said Nomi has climbed up on me and is fascinated by this stream. Hello to Nomi, who has a great name.
Let's see a picture of this animal. Biblaridian says in Nahuatl, surprise, when you see a modal auxiliary, the lexical verb always has to be marked in the future tense.
Nomi got the poll results and left.
Which I thought was really weird, but it makes sense if you think about it. That is interesting because, of course, that's
because it indicates it hasn't happened yet and is not happening now. Therefore,
well, I was going to say because that's how Dothraki works, and that's why it happens in that way.
I thought you meant like it. It makes sense that Nahuatl does it because Dothraki does it.
Yeah.
Since you know Dothraki is older and.
Yeah, but I never knew about that. I never studied Nahuatl. I was pretty sure that I came up with that, like I was the first person to think of that. So too bad. Oh well. But nice to see it reinforced. So anyway, option B is the winner.
And George, my hope is that if I stay awake through the rest of the evening, when I go to sleep, I'll actually sleep instead of waking up all night. So that's my hope, because then your body's so tired it has to sleep, right?
Yeah.
Like it doesn't care that your throat hurts. It will sleep because you need to sleep.
Incidentally, we're going to have to, at some point, I'm going to have to let you know what's going on tonight and tomorrow. But
That's said in a very threatening way.
Well, I think that basically based on how you're feeling and what's going on, you're not going to see a lot of me tonight or tomorrow.
I already figured that because I thought it best for me not to be around all the other people who
Yeah.
don't need to get sick right now, and I can't get sick right now. And so I figured we would eat dinner and you would leave, and now we can discuss our schedule right here with all of our lovely viewers.
That's what they're here for.
I'm going to feed you first, though.
Not in English, Patrick. Also love Patrick trying to correct my pronunciation on literally anything. You're Patrick from now on. Okay.
So let's make this a reality.
Yeah, oh, right. We actually have to write this up. Okay, so to be able...
I guess Patrick has revoked my linguist card, since obviously all linguists can pronounce all the segments of all languages. And as you all know, I cannot. So I guess I have been demoted from linguist to just a wannabe.
All right.
And while you get that set, I'm gonna eat some more of these delightful things.
Oh,
Little fisherman friends.
should we wait a bit then before enjoying Kopiko?
Oh, if we're ready for Kopiko, I'll do that first. Then I'll follow it up with some more fisherman's friends.
Let's just do it. I mean, we haven't, done anything to warrant it necessarily, but you know what? This is for you because sometimes you're just not feeling too well and you just need a little pick-me-up.
That's very nice. Thank you.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Kopiko, the #1 doctor recommended candy for sore throats. Did you know that?
If it's recommended by me, it's doctor recommended.
Yeah. There we go. Oh, Patrick, you can't do anything right.
You too.
Oh, I forgot about my lurge. You're welcome, my lurge. Okay. Spreads. Okay. Now that I understand, okay, so it's spread, right? And I really wish we had a verb table. Maybe we should do the verb table so that I can use it. What are our verb tenses? Passive, prospective, habitual, imperfective, perfective. Okay, so what is the perspective based on?
You mean etymologically?
Mm-hmm.
Perspective comes from flap. I'm flapping to leave right now.
Okay.
It attaches to the infinitive at an early stage. So it's entered into Lexergy as one unit.
Mm-hmm. Okay, how about the imperfective?
That one is from to swoop. That one's a later one. So it's to swoop plus a participle form.
I kind of feel like since To be able to comes from the spreading of the wings, that maybe it should co-occur with a perspective. Spreads the wings to flap, to bite. You know.
So the verb inside the construction should be in the perspective, is that correct?
Yeah, I don't know if that...
I'm sorry, let me pronounce this correctly for Patrick, in a nhuatul way.
I think it's inhuitl.
That would have been a better guess, David.
Yeah.
I'm leaning into my microphone.
Anyway, I don't know if this goes against the spirit of the pull, because that's not a reset. That would be the matrix verb governing the tense of the embedded verb. Let's see. Dang it.
What if? Oh, where are you typing?
Yeah, I'm doing a poll.
Oh. I was going to say, what if how much the matrix verb governs the verb in the dependent clause, the embedded clause, is like a deontic or epistemic differentiation.
Let me think about that. Meanwhile, I got this poll going. I was just asking, folks here if they think that having the matrix verb govern the tense of the embedded verb, if that would kind of defy the spirit of the poll. Because it certainly is not my intention. I mean, this isn't worth eating an onion over at all. Interesting.
What is the results?
The majority of folks think that having the verb govern the tense would kind of defy the spirit of the poll. But bearing that in mind, I want to continue with your deontic and epistemic idea.
Because the way I see it, if I'm like standing there and the bat is, sitting there with a maple seed nearby, and I say, all right, the bat can bite the maple seed. I'm going to let the bat do this. Like this is allowed in this situation.
Oh, I see. Like can versus may.
In some ways, but it's also like in this moment, the bat can do it. Then I think it sort of resets. But if it's about like, yeah, the bat can play the piano, the bat can bite a maple seed, the bat is able to do this thing, has the capability, but like there's no, maybe I have them backwards. Because the tenseless situation, the tenseless situation should be the epistemic. Like, I know that there's a background of information that would allow this situation.
Unfortunately,
Do I have them backwards?
I believe that something like that is governed rather uncontroversially by the tense of the auxiliary. So we have a habitual. And so in that case, you would simply change from imperfective to habitual for can. And it doesn't really say anything about the embedded verb.
Well, in that case, let's just stick with what we got and move on. They say we should keep to the spirit of the poll.
Yeah, I suppose you're right. And because I think anytime you come to a conlang decision like this, there's two ways to go about it. One, it's like, does this make sense? And how do we justify it? But the other way is to say that this is the thing that happens, and if this makes sense, then how does the rest of the language work?
Also, I think there needs to be a clear distinction between Bats and Dothraki speakers. And it's clear that you can only have this governing of the perspective if you're able to ride a horse.
Oh.
And Bats are not known for their horse riding abilities. And that's a clear connection, because I'm fairly certain that, humans who spoke Nahuatl also could ride horses. It's obvious.
I would love to see a bat try to get up on a horse.
Well, it can, but it struggles with getting the horse to do what it wants.
Not for physical reasons, just horses don't respect bats. So the bat says, yeah, and the horse says, I'll bet.
And therefore, there is no perspective in this kind of clause, because the horse does not do in the future what the bat flaps it to do.
And Magpie says, yeah, if you use the future tense here, I would no longer be able to tell apart bats and Dothraki speakers, like most of the world. So, yeah. All right.
This is it.
Very good.
Oh, you're right, Danielle. So the feature we're building is for Pegasus riders.
All right, so then that's...
I think what Sotan is saying is that the bats respect the horses too much to tell them where to go. It acknowledges that they are both two spirits capable of making their own decisions, and the bat says, I will go with you wherever you may choose.
Wow. Gosh, this is really nice. I like this bat horse mythology.
Because in the same way, some little animal may ride on the bat's back, but the bat still gets to decide where it flaps.
The bat gets to decide where it flaps. That's really good life advice. Love this. Okay, let me make sure I got that correct. Usa. I believe. Yeah, because those are the same. Okay. All right, this isn't really tied in. Here are some example sentences to illustrate the alternative discussed.
At least for the moment, there are no large mammals that we are covering in this part of Sovala. And so the horses are not currently being considered, as well as bears. We've talked about bears before, and we had decided.
Yeah. So in Defiance, the television show, right? It was a television show that went along with a video game. And when they were kind of like co-creating this future world, this future version of America, the developers told the show people, let's not have horses in this future because they're really difficult to animate. Horse running. And this is true, by the way. Horse running is famously difficult to animate. And so it just became a part of the world building that all horses died out. Other animals kind of survived, but horses in particular, and anything that was horse-like, they all died out.
They couldn't have just gone to live on their own as wild horses?
Apparently not. Apparently not. And the source of this mass extinction is never explained, and became kind of a joke amongst the writers, to the point that Kevin Murphy, who is the showrunner but also a musical theater guy, later wrote a song that, I translated into one of the alien languages called "I Wish There Were Horses." Anyway, I am not opposed in theory to the idea of, anthropomorphized large animals. In fact, something that I found very striking early on in my life when the second Zelda came out. So the first one was The Legend of Zelda. And then the second one was, I think, called The Adventure of Link or something like that, or Link's Adventure, something like that. It was very different from the others in that it was more of a side-scroller, which none of the other Zelda games were. And the first boss you fight is this very tall, anthropomorphized horse that kind of swings a mace. And it looks really cool. This would have been, 1989, 1990 that I played that game. No, 1990. It had to be 1990. And I think it's really cool. And so I love conceptually the idea of there being these anthropomorphized, tall, large animals. The thing that I could not reconcile, because of course, like something like Shady Hollow, the book series, they're kind of like, what, the point of this is just for fun, right? And to tell stories about, murder mysteries with animals. And so they kind of like just throw any animal in there, which is great.
But one funny thing is I just realized as you were leading up to this, I was going to bring up this example specifically from Shady Hollow, is there are two very regular characters throughout the series who are moose. And in my head, every time I picture this, they're on all fours. But that doesn't make sense given the fact that they're like doing things.
I always picture Joe, washing a mug.
And yet, in my head, and like that's so funny because it's sort of like my imagination was like, the height difference is too much. So the moose are on all fours. Same with the sheep. I imagine the sheep on all fours. Despite the fact that all the other creatures who walk on all fours, Orville is big, and yet I imagine him on his back two legs.
Oh.
And so, anyway, it's very interesting how, like, again, the whole point of Shady Hollow is they even have a little prequel, or not prequel, but a preamble before all the books to just say, suspend reality. Yes, a mouse coexists with a moose, and they figure out, like the size difference isn't as big of a deal. They do say that some creatures are smaller than others, but you're just meant to kind of go with it because it's just a fun little story.
Yeah.
Well, not little. They're actually very in-depth, cozy murder mysteries. But go on.
So the entire point of this is, first of all, part of the conceit of this game is that we're making languages for these animals, and there are a lot of them. So if you can cut some out, great. But also they're supposed to be fighting, and obviously there's something in there where, due to science-y magic, the mice get bigger at least. But it seems, I don't know, it seems like it breaks whatever kind of reality we're trying to make a little bit too much to say that conveniently certain animals get larger while others get much smaller. And
George brought up the similar thing, finding it hard to imagine larger animals being balanced with the smaller ones in battle.
That's the big problem. Like especially if admit the possibility of bears, right?
Yeah.
Like bears and horses and moose. These are really powerful animals. And so, unless there's much more advanced technology, you can't imagine the smaller animals competing. And then, if there's more advanced technology, frankly, it gets very boring because then it's just shooting guns.
Well, then also,
you
like,
know.
things like the rabbits aren't supposed to be super into technology or
Mm-hmm.
invested in. They may have access to it, but like they're not
Yeah.
super excited about it as a way of life. And so then it's like you would then have to make them techie.
Yeah, so I mean, the really like all I can say is that whatever is operating, whatever's in the water, it somehow operates on animals that are smaller in stature, and the metabolism of animals above a certain size just causes it to dissipate or whatever, you know?
So Tinguish is saying that on islands it's a thing where big animals get smaller and small animals get bigger, which is interesting. And so in Magpie says, you could just say they all converge more towards human size from wherever they started, since they're kind of replacing the humans in this world anyway.
I suppose. First, one more big congratulations, heartfelt congratulations to Madeline today as her book Because the Beast Came is now out. She is off for a celebration dinner, a well-deserved celebration dinner. Congratulations.
Yes. And everyone go get her book.
Yeah, Jason suggests that the larger animals could serve as boss fights in PvE scenarios, which is true. But I'd actually had that idea about the insects serving as for the PvE portion of the Sobalaverse, which I haven't designed yet. Still trying to. I think it'll be a lot easier once everything else is kind of settled. Anyway.
I do not recommend eating a fisherman's friend and then immediately taking a big drink of very cold water. The menthol cold water.
Oh yeah.
Like,
that'll blast you.
man.
Anyway, I was trying to figure out where this thing would go. This section is so weird. We start talking about the verbs and then things get very informal.
Hey, at least we're still talking about things that they do and we don't just skip it and go on.
That didn't work. Anyway, I'm just gonna add. All right. Doc features a kind of subordination. The subordination, well, triggered by certain verbs, isn't reified via any specific tense or particle. Instead, verbs that trigger subordination, in fact, trigger a reset, a tense aspect reset. An example with the auxiliary, I think it's oops. To be able to is shown below. Oh boy. There we go.
I'm going to take away this N that I have highlighted. It isn't reified.
Yeah.
Via. Okay.
All right. Now, what's the perfect of bite?
The perfect is kidonus. Kidonus. Wait, right? We're verb initial, right?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
I really want that table. I really want that table. I think that's after we settle this, I think I'm going to go make the table. Because we can make the table now. Basically, we settled the final question.
That's exciting, yeah?
It is a little exciting. So this is actually an epistemic usage. The bat, because if you put the second verb in the perfect, what you're saying is the bat can have bitten the maple seed.
Yeah.
Yep. I was looking away for a second, thought maybe you had some IKEA to put together. You know, it would be cool if IKEA also sold table templates that you could use in like Word or Pages. There are many ways in which Finnish is kind of like my ideal grammar. There's so much stuff you don't have to worry about. Oh gosh, everybody look at me and tell me how beautiful I am. Oh God. Ah. Is that too much?
Oh my gosh. Okay. So
I didn't know Jonathan Colton had a song that called IKEA, but if there was going to be a song called IKEA about IKEA, I'm not surprised it was Jonathan Colton.
So
Linda?
are you ready for the tabling?
I would like to put one more tense combination.
Oh, okay.
Like, I don't understand now how you would use the present tense in conjunction with the perspective, but okay. But then we can just invent
My
that.
God, we have two cans. The bat can have bitten.
Yes.
Do the can?
Just like in English.
Okay.
But I'll go ahead and put the initial one. How do I put a wook in so it's kidun? Just kidunuch?
Okay, wait though.
Hmm.
If perfective used here is the bat can have bitten, then wouldn't the imperfective be the bat can be biting the maple seed? Like, this can be happening, and then perspective would be can bite in the future, and then habitual is like can in general bite the thing.
I actually don't know how the habitual would work if habitual is used on the embedded verb, because the habituality is the being able to. It's like you say, like right now he can start biting it regularly, I guess, or in general he's always able to. Maybe there's some iterativity built into the habitual. What's the habitual built off? Where'd it come from?
Oh, I went too far. To hang, and it's actually older than the imperfective.
Yeah. Yeah, the imperfective is very new.
So it seems weird that it would be the one embedded inside this subordinate thing to mean like it can happen.
It does, but we're saying that there's no connection between the embedded and the matrix verb. So I think our hands are tied. You should be able to put that
But
verb in
why not
any
then
tense.
could have bitten? Why not have that on the can as well? Perfective can, and then be biting.
No. There's a difference between can have bitten and could have bitten. See, I've got one in the past tense, or in the perfect right there.
I know, and I don't like it.
It's a reset. It's a reset right there. So it's now like this is your reality. Back then, he was being able to do that.
But I still don't understand why then it's not the bat can be biting the maple seed. It's going on right now. That's not to say can bite the way we do it, the way it's translated right now, is the sort of like habitually able to.
This is an interesting question. Don't attribute my silence to disagreeing. I'm thinking about it.
Oh, by George. Jake says I could whisper the meanest things and it would still be endearing. But they also say I wouldn't wield that power, and I'm glad that that was the follow-up.
This is true. I, on the other hand...
You could whisper the nicest things and it would feel threatening.
I wish each of you whose birthday it is a very fine birthday and many happy returns of the day.
Exactly. I love how the camera cut you off, and so you just saw a very big close-up.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
We have...
I feel like my voice is already a whisper, so I'm just going to say it. The meanest things. Oh, I remind Sotan of their grandmother and my intonation patterns. That makes me happy.
I really want that table. I really want that table because I keep going to see what all our tenses are and there's nowhere to go.
But why don't we do that?
Hang on a sec. So we have imperfective, perfective, prospective, habitual. I hate to do this, and you'll know I really hate to do this, but I think we can separate these two into realis and irrealis. I hate to do that.
David's having a moment.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just words that we use to say it's happening, happened, or not. Like, irrealis is just saying, like, it's not here, at least not right now.
But yeah, let me think about how to
Jake
word
wants
this.
to know if you'll ever forgive yourself.
There are many more things I've never forgiven myself for. You think I'll forgive myself for this? Absolutely not. It has to get in line and beg forgiveness from me.
My word.
I'll trigger.
Yeah. You know, this whole time I've been trying to think about what mean things, the meanest of things that I would whisper that would affect you. And I feel like if I whispered, David has a hair out of place, that would be like the meanest thing I could say.
Do I?
You don't. But it would affect you.
Yeah. Anything said of my hair affects me deeply.
I know. That's why I said that would be like the meanest thing I could say to you. And I do know how you react to it because I do try to tell you when you have a hair out of place. And I feel like you look as though I have said the most awful thing in the world, and yet you're happy that I let you know. Oh, Jake is having a particularly good hair day. I think you are too, David. I think it looks very nice.
Oh, that's nice.
You've
Thank
got
you.
this one little wisp that kind of is right here, and it's still in place because the rest of the hair is nearby. But like, it's very nice. Indeed, wink worthy.
Well, the split in the interpretation of two different sets of tenses. On the one hand, the imperfective and perfective, and on the other, the prospective and habitual. Okay. Basic. Now, we'll call this the perfective stratum.
Does it mean that I'm enjoying watching your facial shifts as you try to process this horrible thing you're making yourself do?
The potential stratum.
You're not answering. Miles, why wasn't that an option? And yeah, this whole battery thing on the app, it's really killed any ability to be a free learner. And that's kind of sad. think our mail is here.
So I believe this is epistemic. Okay. Yeah, the different sets of that's used on the embedded or lexical verb. All right, now the potential. Euhicho, ingo, euhingo, eusa, 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 isunla, eusa. Now it's going to become perspective. And the what's the perspective of us? It's got a nga in front of it. Right?
Yeah, I think it's just going to be low tone and then a glottal stop before the oos.
Nga us?
I was trying to see if we had done it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Was that correct? Did I guess right?
Yeah. Based on what we've written above. Nga us.
We have an example sentence that says it's nga os, high tone, low tone with an O, not a U.
Yeah, we're going to have to figure that out. This form is older and is put into Lexergy as one phonological unit. While some forms will have this low-high pattern, please note that others won't. For instance, the verb ich comes out as nga ich, but rich comes out as ngare. I'm ignoring the long vowel results for the... Okay. So got it. So thank you. Ngaos.
Wow.
So we're going to say can/may. Bite the maple seed.
I'm so sorry to hear that, Miles, because... I mean, I know it's got its issues, but it really does make those little bits of, getting you into language learning on a regular basis. And that really does help. But yeah, to have issues with the battery system as they have it now, I'm so sorry.
And then past tense. Hiddenuf. Okay. And then I want at least one example with the habitual. Because, so what's the habitual form? It's just do, right?
Where did I find those example sentences?
Dunus.
Habitual donus.
With an O?
Yeah.
Oh, so it's supposed to be ki donus, right?
Qui donus? Yes. That's what we have in these examples. I'm assuming these examples are all correct and up to date with what we would expect now.
So what about is it qui donuch or qui donuch?
For what?
That word.
Why is it changing to an H?
Oh. No, it's a different word. We made the word for to be able to strikingly similar to the word to bite.
Oh. Oh, didn't we have that in a chart somewhere? Didn't we make a can? No, we didn't. Is that the protoform? Just the form we have right there? Okay.
Yeah.
So glottal stop U K H with dun. Donuk. So low tone do, high tone nuch. So it'd be ki donuch, right?
Okay, with an O. All right.
Yeah.
Let me fix those. Good. Okay, the verb to be able to co-occurs with a brand new clause that may have an alternate subject. If the subject is the same, it's omitted. They involve subordinator. We don't know yet if we'll do that. It's not going to involve a subordinator. Except this, we're going to go ahead and switch this to the prospective because essentially the prospective is going to get used a lot more now. But we want to show the change in agreement, so actually this doesn't make any sense anymore. Because I don't think that there's any kind of epistemic reading of that, right?
Epistemic says it fits with all assumed knowledge, right?
Oh, that's a lovely definition.
Am I thinking of that correctly? Whereas deontic is
Yeah. So
it's more like
deontic is do it.
volition.
Deontic is like you should eat. Epistemic is they should be here.
Mm-hmm. And you're asking, is there any epistemic
Reading of the highlighted sentence. I don't think that works anymore.
The problem is, it's just logically, I think the Dothraki system works quite well for logics.
I think that maybe you might not be thinking about this system in exactly the right way. I think because the way that it's supposed to make sense is like the bat spreads that he bites the maple seed, and that's supposed to be fine.
Okay. I don't know what the issue is then.
In other words, there's really supposed to be no connection between those two verbs at all.
Well, if there's no connection, then what you have highlighted is fine because there's no connection.
Yeah, but the stuff that we just wrote doesn't work anymore.
Then delete it all because it's obviously wrong if it doesn't work.
Well, we can. What I'm saying is, we can try to make these things work. We might have to change that sentence, though.
I think I will continue thinking about it wrong and just say this is a quirky system that defies logic.
Well, it's kind of like, go back to finish. If you wanted to say, like, I wanted him to have sung, you would just say, halawan eta, han, how does it go? Laulia? Han lauli. Sorry.
I don't know Finnish well enough to know whether you are correct. So I'm going to just say I guess.
You just say, I want that he sung.
Not according to this translator.
Oh, shoot. Hold on a sec. What's the past tense? Lauloi. Wow. Okay.
But like every way I entered it into the translator, it was very different from what you were saying.
Interesting. Let me make sure I've got the... Okay, this is a real digression, but I promise it's in service of something greater. Wow, the past tense really is lauloi. That's weird, isn't it?
I don't know.
You'd think it would be laulai. Because there's the conditional laulai scene. Huh. Okay, apparently I was wrong about that. Wow, they're suggesting laula is maybe onomatopoeic in origin.
That's delightful.
Isn't it? I think that this idea is going to have to die.
And kill it gracefully is all I ask.
But this one wasn't even your idea. This was my idea.
I still want you to kill it gracefully. That was a little harsh. You didn't even give it a little flair.
Didn't even give the almond pour.
Or no. Wait, what was the character in that one movie that I swear that cape flip came from? The Jean-Claude Van Damme movie that's really bad. Isn't it Jean-Claude Van Damme? The one where it's like they built the video game off of it and they're
Bloodsport?
remaking it. Is it Bloodsport?
They're not remaking that.
No, the one they're remaking. Like I think like Jason Momoa is supposed to be in it.
Oh, Street Fighter.
Street Fighter. Thank you. You know, who's the bad guy that has the cape and he does the flip?
M. Bison, and it's Raul Julia.
There we go. Thank you, Patrick. Yes. I know, Patrick. If I had said the Jean-Claude Van Damme movie that's really good, it would obviously be one answer.
Yeah, but you were right, Patrick. It was indeed Street Fighter.
Sudden death is the right answer.
Wait, Sudden Impact. Was it Sudden Death? I thought it was
Sudden Death, the hockey movie.
So he was in a movie called Sudden Death and a movie called Sudden Impact?
Wasn't he in a movie called Sudden Death? Am I misremembering this? Am I misremembering the only movie I claimed is good?
Sudden Impact is Clint Eastwood. It's a Dirty Harry movie.
No, I am absolutely right.
No, of course. No, I wasn't saying you were wrong about that. I thought he was in both Sudden Death and Sudden Impact, but no.
And there's a great little screenshot when you Google this of him taking down the murderous mascot. Oh man, that has to be a good movie, right?
Yeah. The thing that I find the most silly about the Sudden Death film is that he ends up on ice as the goalie in Game 7 of the NHL Stanley Cup. And there's, I don't remember if it's a penalty shot or if it's just there's a breakaway, but some hockey player is coming in. They're just gonna shoot to potentially tie or win the game. And he blocks the shot, and everybody cheers. They're at home. But I believe that he would have blocked the shot had he just remained standing still. But instead he moves awkwardly to his right, which he shouldn't, and then falls over backwards and still blocks the shot.
It's magic. It's the Van Damme way.
It doesn't. Well, here's my problem. It doesn't look very graceful. It makes him look a little silly, which is not the Van Damme way.
The Van Damme way actually would have been him doing the splits as
he
blocked.
Exactly. Why didn't they do that? That would have been good. Instead, it was just it's very awkward. You have to see it. And furthermore, and maybe this is just this is now reminding me of DTF St. Louis, which is, by the way, a show that's currently going right now. It's fantastic, but in it,
Can't wait to find out.
well, in it, David Harbour is his character is turned off because his wife is now an umpire at Little League games, and often wears her umpire gear, and he is very turned off by this the bulky umpire gear. Van Damme in all of the goalie padding. It makes him look everything that Van Damme isn't. And so then just the awkward save makes it even worse. It's like, here I go. Ooh. It's comical in a way that it shouldn't be.
By the way, I can't wait till after the stream when we watch George's review of my book, because then I'll understand Sinowin's comment. David tossed that line as casually as George tossing David's book while reviewing How to Create a Language.
Majorly inspired Mortal Kombat. They were actually making a video game version of Bloodsport when they received word that they were not going to get the rights to it, and so had to pivot and make an original game. So it's much more than it just simply inspired Bloodsport. It inspired Street Fighter 2, which I think is an accurate thing to say, and a good use of the word inspire. No. Mortal Kombat was supposed to be Bloodsport, the video game. All right. So anyway, I'm good with this. I think it nods, at the very least, at the spirit of the poll, while however, changing the interpretation of the original tenses a little bit because it's occurs in subordination. The problem that I'm having now is the same problem that I have with High Valyrian, which is if you are describing something that somebody can do and you have a habitual tense, the question is, why don't you use that habitual tense literally all of the time? I don't know. Like, it feels like if you're going to be using the imperfective, let's say if you're talking about like right now, if you're going to use the imperfective, it feels like you're saying this person can do this right now, but not necessarily in the future or in the past. Mm-hmm. If you're saying that they can do it, it feels like you either you have to use the habitual. Like, mm-hmm. like, you know, if I don't know, if I say like, you know, Jesse can cook really well, like feels like you have to use the habitual. If I think of all of the things, all of the times that I usually use can, it's probably going to be the habitual and not the imperfect. Anyway.
No, I agree.
Okay.
I say let's
all right.
into the habituality.
All right, let's do it. Okay, then, so we're going to stop right there where we're at. Incidentally, if we want to like look ahead, we're probably going to be talking about the copula. That may lead us to the poll, but for now, let us finally
make a table.
Yeah, make some verb tables at the very least. All right, we're going to get rid of that. What should our first verb be? Because we have all of these verbs whose phonological shape will crucially determine the kind of pattern they belong to. We've got a whole table of them right here. Squeak, hit, fly, land, boop, rest, stand, and toss. And these are no longer infinitives. They're bare forms. Oh, crap.
I like it.
Okay.
Am I incorrect? I have to be incorrect because we had do with some closed. Wait, no, do is closed. Okay. Am I correct in saying we're only going to get a prefixed U in this particular one, the habitual, if it's an open syllable root?
If it's an open syllable monosyllabic root. So. Because
in zona, which is open syllable at the end,
yeah.
you get do because it's so long.
Yeah.
Dokuna. Okay. So what I'm saying is like we could write that as a general expectation that prefixes act a certain way before a short single syllable, and instead we should focus potentially on something that will cause tone shift, which is much more difficult to predict based on what I'm seeing.
Here's where I think we should start. We should try to start with one that is as regular as we can possibly make it. So like oza for to toss, I think is a good one for a vowel initial. And let's get a different one that doesn't start with an N, but a consonant that doesn't change. Then we need to get into all the exceptions after the regular ones. And that's going to include the monosyllabic ones that have open vowels. That includes things that start with R that have like the R to L change, and also the ones that have tone shift. I think so is like not to confuse ourselves later. Let's try to get the regular ones at the top.
Seems like then something like to stand, right? Because it starts with a B in its protoform and it's still got the B in its habitual form.
In its modern form, it starts with an N.
Well, it's still that way in the habitual. Dong bad, dong bod.
There's a very specific reason I don't want it to start with an N, and it's because the N is the epenthetic consonant that gets picked up in the habitual.
In this case, it's not, though. Its bare form has it. Like, it's not being picked up by the prefix. Its bare form already has it.
This is true. I would love it if we can choose a different word.
I would love for you to choose the word.
Okay. Anything that doesn't start with an N that is regular. Let's see. How about M? Ooh. No, there's no proto E, is there? Okay. Good. All right. Can you help me? Here, I'm going to flip over to Lexergy. Can you help me find the inflections for, well, I guess the inflections. So the imperfective, we don't need to worry about that one because it's always regular because it's newer. What do we put in for the habitual?
Dun.
And how about, and that's one word?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. How about for the perspective?
Nga. Ingma a glottal stop.
And is that also one word?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And then ki do obviously is built off of do, so we don't need to worry about that.
Mm-hmm.
And then the imperfective is later, and you just add that prefix
But
as
you need
is.
to know what the participle
But I need to know
is.
what the participle is. But the participles happen regularly. Damn it. Here's a vowel change. Oh. Are we supposed to get that geminate M in there?
I don't know. You can trace its changes.
Oh, no, I mean, generally, yeah, we have geminate M's in the language. I just didn't remember if we were supposed to have geminate M's in the verb form. All right, let me try something else. Oh, right, but then we have the M issue. I felt like the habitual prefix was never that chunky. That the coda consonant only showed up when it was...
Before vowel or glottal.
Yeah.
So it shouldn't show up.
So we just kind of delete it?
I think it just drops.
It just drops. Okay. All right, then. We have... then we have our new word. It's going to be... modern is mora. Any opinions about what it should mean? Protoform is mura.
To sleep.
That is so perfect. It's already in there. What do we put as the... I guess it's just... Okay. All right. So then... How to set this
You may
up.
also want to show the passive, because the passive joins the infinitive
Yes.
as one word, and that is K-A glottal stop.
Right. Okay, let's... I think that'll be a good way to divide up the tables into active and passive. Say it again.
K-A glottal stop.
K-A glottal stop. And it's early attachment?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because it's like the same age as the perspective.
Ga moro. Ga mora. Okay. All right. Got it. Okay. Okay. So active, passive, and then we had kind of a table on the top, right? It was...
We have several tables. We've got the habitual to show what happens to different kinds of verbs.
Here we go. Bear, gerund, okay, imperative. We don't need those to be separate anymore.
But we do need the gerund, right? Because
Oh, yeah.
that one, we need to assign it to an appropriate noun class.
Yes.
And it's going to be different for every verb.
Yeah. So we have bear, gerund, imperfective, prospective, habitual, perfective.
And passive. Active, passive.
Right.
Yeah,
That's set up. Okay. All right. And we don't need to call it the bear anymore because we can call it the imperative because the bear doesn't do anything else. So imperative.
The bear only gives commands.
Imperative, gerund, and then
everything else is going to be the same across active and passive as what we've got here. Or is that just the negative auxiliary?
it's just the negative.
Okay.
It's just the negative. So I started with...
I appreciate Patrick's the imperative.
Ooh. Okay. This is... Think what habitual, perfective, imperfective, prospective. Unless the perspective came before the habitual. Do you happen to remember what we said?
Oh, just a second. Let me take these really quickly. It's older. We don't really say, grammatically speaking, we just say the passive is about the same age as the perspective. I think the perspective was first. I think that was meant to be like you're either doing it or have done it or will do it. So like a future, non-future sort of distinction was the first to be made. From there, a distinction among perfective and then habitual was made. And then passive is roughly as old as the perspective, so it's back there.
Do we allow for the idea of a passive imperative? Oh, forget sleep for now, but like bite, be bitten.
I think so.
Okay.
Like, it wouldn't get used often,
Sure.
but
But
like,
there's no reason it shouldn't exist.
yeah. Because there are definitely transitive verbs where you can imagine that happening. Yeah.
All right. It's too late. All right. But there is only one gerund? Is that right?
One moment, please. I feel like it has to be right because we're treating it as a noun. Wait, no, we have active and passive gerunds.
We do.
Yes.
We do.
Yeah.
Well, isn't that nice then? Yeah. Yeah.
And we have a whole series of examples for them.
Absolutely. Oh my God. Oh yeah. Yeah. Oh, awesome. Oh, this is wonderful. Okay. All right. So, sleep. Night, day, big, small.
Day.
Day. My God, of course. All right.
But it wasn't night and day. Flying,
Oh my God, you're right.
walking,
Flying, walking,
big, small.
big, small. Shoot.
So it's small in the sense that, philosophically speaking, sleep is a little death.
Yeah.
So it's small. Definitely not flying.
Yeah.
Feels weird to say then that it would be walking, whereas
Or, yeah,
being
around the ground.
stationary would
Yeah.
be.
I think small has got to be it, yeah?
I think so.
Okay, and so small is he, right?
Yeah, I think so. Ihi is the initial protoform, and so it's the one that ends in he.
And do you happen to remember if we put a space or not? Actually, it doesn't matter in this case. So, all good.
Okay.
So the gerund will be here.
And that's nice because small puts it in a day class.
Oh, excellent. Oh,
And so-
oh. This is incredible. Like, this just adds reinforcement to why these classes that merged were reinterpreted the way they were.
Yeah.
Oh, that's wonderful. Oh my God. That, perfect. By the way, sharks can sleep while swimming. I don't know if Bibblerating is still here. I wouldn't blame him if he wasn't, but is there a list of like animals that can sleep while moving? Is there any animal that can sleep while flying? That seems impossible. Or at least ill-advised.
Improbable.
Yeah. Well, morahi. And then ga morahi. Okay.
And then you've got all of the Luxurgy forms for the next series, right?
I believe so. Ngamora. Perfect.
I believe you have slept while being flown, Jake.
I don't remember if there's something fancy that happens when the prospective combines with the passive, or if you just line them up.
Okay.
It's got to be in here somewhere.
Well, whatever it would always be the same because passive.
It goes onto the front, so the
It
passive
goes
is
to the front. So whatever it does, it's going to do across the board
Yeah.
to that initial. Is it D? No. Ingma.
Okay. I got it. Nagamura.
Like, I feel
Nagamura.
like
Yeah. Nagamura. Good. All right. And then the habitual is the do form, and it's coming out as do. Domora. Okay. Which means the perfective is going to just be kido. We'll start there. But the passive, it's that in front of ka, right?
Ooh, Sinowin says that Google is reporting that several bird species can sleep while flying, including common swifts, great frigate birds, and albatrosses. Or it may be the same kind of thing that Rage Infest is reporting about, like fish and dolphins, that really it's that half of their brain sleep at a time.
That
and
makes sense.
Because, yeah, if you can't fully shut down if you live in the water. Wouldn't you float to the surface? Like, if you totally shut down? Like, don't they have to be moving to keep them underwater? Because when they die, they float to the surface.
Sharks do?
Don't fish?
Fish might. I don't know about sharks.
Well, fish do. They float to the surface when they die. They may eventually sink because after a while, the air is lost in their bodies. But, like, don't you initially float if you stop?
I thought they flew up because their soul wasn't weighing them down.
That's it. That is the scientific answer.
Just going back here. Ki, do. Ah. Do. Ha. And that click is regular because of the nasal followed by the K of the passive.
If I'm interpreting this comment correctly, Jake says, but that only weighs 21 grams, not nearly enough. I'm assuming they're talking about the soul.
Yeah, there's a movie.
Oh.
Movie called 21 Grams.
Really?
It gets its name based on the fact that the body is allegedly supposed to weigh 21 grams less when it dies, and then from what it weighed previously. And the theory was that this was what the human soul weighed.
Or it was what your last breath weighed.
And the movie 21 Grams, I can't recommend it less.
Say more.
Yeah. All right, and now that naughty imperfective.
The imperfective only takes ie and a.
Or if it ends in a vowel, which this one does, it's hie and ra, right? It's just the adjective.
Yeah, that would have to be what we decided that would come from. So, yeah.
Yeah. So, yes, after a vowel, hie and ra.
Magpie is saying that, based on some further research, there's no direct evidence that albatrosses sleep while flying, but it's assumed that they do something because they can stay in the air for so long. So it's like, physically speaking, something has to be going on. And that's really because they live above water, right? Like they're water birds, right? Like they're at home
Yeah.
where there's water, and if you're going to be flying across the ocean, like you got to be able to do something because you're not finding land necessarily. Like otherwise there wouldn't be any albatrosses left. Like you take off flying in the ocean, and like if you don't find land, you're dead. I would also imagine that it's very dangerous for water birds who sleep on the surface of the water. That just puts you at like predator risk because you're just sitting there like a sitting duck.
Yeah. By the way, I want to note that we wrote somewhere that that lacks a specific copula verb, so we'll have to figure that out. And then certain things in red. Oh, right, because we didn't know if we were going to have... We have to revisit this eventually and figure out. This now needs to be in a tense, but I can do that later. But participles, how do you make the passive one? Here we go. Here we go. We got a whole we got a whole thing. Can you tell me what the protoform of toss is?
Well, UDZA.
Perfect. Okay, so then this is regular. Gahie and gara. All right.
And am I reading this right, that we actually made it so the participle is like the passive is going inside the form?
Yeah, it's a suffix. All right, and so now what I'm going to do with this table, add row below, add column after. All of these are going to be merged. And this is let's see, final. Oh wait, but then this is going to be merged like this, and this is going to say day class, night class, and these are going to be small caps. This is going to be white, and then uh-oh. Okay, I'll just grab it like this. No. Thank you. There we go.
Watching this play out is wild.
There we go. All right, and then we can move that there. Move that there. And table, distribute columns evenly. All right, so that's day class. And this is going to be night class. Boom. We've got one table done. Regular verbs that end in a vowel, not a consonant. Oh, right. I was supposed to do one that ended in a consonant because we already had one that ended in a vowel. That was oza.
But
oh, well.
Isn't the other point that it starts in a vowel? Because isn't that important for the prefixes, most of which these are?
Yes. So this, yeah. So this is...
Or it starts in a consonant, rather.
C, initial, vowel, final. Oh, yeah. We're going to have a lot of tables, aren't we?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because the C initial is part of why we have like a million. And then the final is why we have all those different participle forms.
Yeah. And then I'm gonna make this super, super, super light green. Oh, but then it looks like that. There we go. Very, 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 very light. Do-do-do. Hooray!
Yay. And then that is where we should end for the day.
Yeah, we just gotta figure out what the poll is gonna be.
Copula.
I know. So we know we're not gonna have a copula, which is fine. Question is then, what around? What exactly will that mean?
Didn't you say that there was just no copula for nga?
We have in adjective placement,
Oh, there we
ndak
go.
lacks a specific copula verb.
When you said that, I heard the prefix nga. And so I was thinking
Oh, for instead
the
of
perspective.
ndak.
The perspective is like it lacks a copula.
Yeah.
But okay, so we need to figure out then.
Yep.
Yep. Although I guess we kind of did, but we need to figure out the red.
Yeah, and we also need to figure out how to say something like, if this bat is a teacher, how do you say the bat is not a teacher? So we'll need to figure that out. Okay.
Excellent. Well, thank you all for being here. And stay grammar. And we'll see you next Thursday.
Yes, please
and go
do.
buy Batty's book.
Woo! Hoo-hoo!
Buy-
Battle and James!
Buy Maddie's book. There we go.
Wait. Yeah.
I just kept the buzz going across the Buy Batty's book.
Fantastic. And thanks everybody for sticking with us on a stream with thorny issues to figure out, and then also for being with us for the instant premiere.
Yes.
And thank you as always for being here for any reason. It's very nice.
Yes.
All right, bye everybody.